Well, thanks for coming here today. So I just wanted to brief you on an incident that occurred this morning at approximately 9:20 a.m. Our officers were dispatched to the 1900 block of Chili Avenue here in the town of Gates for a Kia vehicle operating on Chili Avenue doing donuts in the middle of the roadway while people were trying to travel. Subsequently, that vehicle pulled into a driveway on Chili Avenue in that 1900 block. Our officers arrived and pulled on scene. One of the officers pulled in the driveway in an attempt to block the vehicle in, while another officer was parked out on the roadway. Unfortunately, the drivers in the vehicle, which was occupied by 3 people, sped off, backing up, driving over a lawn, and striking one of our patrol cars on Chili Avenue, and then headed towards the city of Rochester. At that time, we pursued the vehicle into the city. Officers lost sight of the vehicle up in the northeastern portion of Rochester after the vehicle drove through a wooden stockade fence. Our officers were able to play around in the adjoining neighborhood, keeping an eye out looking for the vehicle. Eventually, when our officers got onto Norton Street, they were able to observe that the vehicle had flipped over at the intersection of Norton and Hollenbeck Street in the city. As our officers were approaching that vehicle, they could see that the 3 occupants had fled on foot. We were able to get out, foot pursuit ensued, and we took 2 people into custody to include the driver. The driver has been identified as a 14-year-old male from the city of Rochester. The second person that we took into custody is a 22-year-old male from the city of Rochester. I'm not releasing his name at the current moment as he is in court awaiting arraignment. As soon as arraignment is over, I'll release that information to you. This vehicle that was pursued had been stolen at approximately 3 a.m. on Durgan Street in the city of Rochester, where it was described by a 911 caller for 2 males that had showed up to the location and were stealing their neighbor's car. However, they had left another car there, which also was recovered by RPD and was stolen. So this is one of those continued efforts of the Kia Hyundais being stolen. It sounds like altogether, when they pulled up to the house on Durgan Street earlier, there was 2 stolen vehicles at the time. They stole the one that we ended up pursuing, left the stolen car behind up there on Durgan, and then unfortunately we ran into them today, this afternoon. During the chase, fortunately nobody was hurt, no citizens were hurt, none of the officers were hurt. One of the suspects, in our case, has a laceration above his eye. He was treated and released by Strong Memorial Hospital and back into our custody. So it was nothing life-threatening, nothing that needed to keep him in the hospital. The third suspect is outstanding. However, we are working diligently to identify them. I think we're going to be able to close this one with a 3rd arrest shortly. So at this time, we have the 2, like I was saying. One's going to family court for the 14-year-old to be charged currently, and the 22-year-old is going to be in Gates court. And this goes on to the continued stolen Kias and Hyundais in our town throughout Monroe County. We here at the Gates Police Department are continue to bring these people to justice that are stealing these cars from our residents, stealing these cars from people who come to Gates, our movie theaters, our shopping centers, any of those where you come here and your car gets stolen by these suspects. We're gonna go get them, and we're gonna arrest them, and we're gonna bring them into court, and hopefully the justice system will prevail for our victims. This is Victims' Rights Week, so I want to highlight that. These are petty little incidents, is what a lot of people say, with these cars being stolen. We get beat up on social media about going after these thefts of these cars, but for me, if my car was stolen in the morning, that might be the biggest thing that's ever happened to me. And that's me being victimized, not being able to go to work, not being able to go to school, not being able to pick up my kids, not being able to see a sick loved one that's in the hospital, and that could change your life, just something as small as that. And then going on to the more heinous crimes that are going on in our community. But we're going to continue to hold these juveniles, we're going to continue to hold the adults responsible. In some of these cases where we can tie back to lack of guardianship from the parents, we will arrest the parents, we will arrest the guardians for not providing that proper supervision. And I'm not saying everyone is in trouble here. I know sometimes you drop your kids off at school and you think they're at school and they run away and they go and commit crimes. That's not on the parent. But there's times that we've dealt with some of the parents who say they have no control of their kids and they just let them run wild. Those are parents that we need to hold accountable for their kids' actions, and we will continue to do that here in the town of Gates. Do you guys have any questions at the current?
Jumping off of that, has that happened or come up? Is that something that is
Yeah, in the past, in some of the incidents we've had, I'm talking not related to this crime currently, we've had incidents where we've talked to parents or guardians who have admitted to us that they let their kids just go out in the middle of the night because they have no control over them, and have charged the parents with endangering the welfare for improper supervision of their kids coming out here. In the one case I'm describing, they ran a stolen vehicle with a loaded handgun back a couple of years on Child Avenue. So, you know, it's trying to prevent those incidents from happening, because a 14, 15-year-old kid with a loaded handgun running around at night, you know, that's not good, right? They can meet so many different dangerous things there. They could meet a law enforcement officer on a traffic stop and have that gun, and who knows what would happen there. They can be on the street in the city or in one of these towns and pull it out on somebody who has another gun, and then we have a shooting back and forth, and now we've lost the life of a 14 or 15-year-old kid who really hasn't experienced life. And, you know, it's preventing that from happening and trying to teach these kids. Some of these 14, 15-year-olds, we can change them. We can arrest them, we can get them into the system, and they can change. I've seen it time and time again through my career of almost 20 years, where kids have come back here to the town and thanked us for changing their life. We've had that happen with adults. And, you know, sometimes it does take the arrest process, as bad as that sounds, to get somebody straightened out, whether it's drugs, alcohol, or just a lack of supervision, get them on the right path, and then come back and they're living and breathing and not another statistic on our streets.
And how many cars have been reported stolen in the town of Gates so far this year?
I just got asked this by another media outlet not too recently ago, so I believe we're up into the 30 so far this year. And our number gets skewed a little bit because we do have a lot of rental car companies too in town because of the airport. So I'm not saying that that's 30 stolen from residents' driveways, because we do have those commercial rental companies where their statistics would show up as well for people not returning cars, or their lots being hit at night as well.
Is there any indication that the 14-year-old and the 22-year-old, obviously this started in the city, there's a lot to unpack how this all began, but you know, is there any indication or coordination that these are folks that have been doing this with other instances? Are these repeat offenders?
Yeah, we'll be looking into whether or not they're repeat offenders or if they're involved in any other cases. We have quite a few recent cases down in our Child Avenue corridor here in the town of Gates. I want to say in the last week or two we've had 3 or 4 cars just happen to be stolen in the same area where these youths were found today. So whether or not that's in connection, we will be reviewing some video that we have and trying to put all the pieces together. Unfortunately, this is going to be a lengthy investigation with the amount of different vehicles that are stolen throughout the area, but if we can tie it back, we will.
For the record, can you tell me, since I missed this, my apologies, your first name and your last name spelled for me, and your title. And you mentioned that there's a third person that's outstanding that hasn't been caught, but you sound pretty confident that you will find that person. Tell me what's your strategy for that?
Okay, Chief Robert, R-O-B-E-R-T-L-O-N-G, Long is my last name. I'm pretty confident because we have the best law enforcement in Monroe County here in the town of Gates working. Our officers are tenacious, and we'll go out there and we'll find this other young man that fled that scene. I can almost guarantee it, just based on some of the information that we know just in our little time with the 2 individuals that we have and who their known associates are, some of the video that we have, and identification from other incidents that have occurred. I know that they'll put the puzzle pieces together on that one, and I'm proud of my officers that work here day in and day out, and I know that they'll do the best for our community, not just Gates residents, but everybody.
And you mentioned that was another young man. Can you confirm that the third suspect is a teenager?
That I cannot. Just from seeing video of the person fleeing the scene of where the car was, you could tell that it's a younger male. You know, I couldn't add an age to him, unfortunately.
Is there any relation between the 2 individuals in the car?
Not to my knowledge.
And what kind of car was left at the home before they stole the other car? What kind of car was the first car?
Yep, it was a Kia. Yep.
And for the patrol car that was hit, what's the process like, you know, when that happens for the officer? Are they okay? You said there was no injuries, but, you know, what's the process there?
Yeah, so it was, I talked to the officer that was hit on Child Avenue. He was shocked, obviously, that a car had just hit him, but was able to, you know, that vehicle didn't sustain a lot of damage, so he was able to help out and continue in the pursuit, and able to be on scene when they took the others into custody.
And the
Yeah, it appears they sideswiped the car, and that person was just as caught off guard as anybody would be getting sideswiped from a vehicle coming by. But that person was cooperative and, helped out at the scene with us too, and, we were able to help them too.
And depending on the charges that these individuals may face, is it likely that they will be issued an appearance ticket and let go? And how frustrating or not frustrating is that process?
Yeah, so in this case, it does not appear that the adult, the 22-year-old, will be issued an appearance ticket. They're currently in arraignment, but it sounds like they will be going to jail with some bail, with some other outstanding issues that they have throughout our county. As far as the juvenile, they're going to family court for arraignment as well, and whether or not they get released at family court or they get held in the juvenile detention center will be up to the family court judge. And again, that goes back onto the record if they've had any involvements in the family court system. But it is frustrating. We did this raise the age a few years ago where we took the right of our judges and our law enforcement to hold 16 and 17-year-olds accountable, and we pushed it up to 18 years old. And unfortunately, that also changed the lower level, the 13, 14, 15-year-olds, and we've seen a snowball effect. I don't know if any of the politicians out there can admit that we did something wrong. Not trying to get political on this or anything, just seeing it as a citizen, seeing it as a police chief, seeing it as a police officer. We have younger and younger youths committing more and more crimes that are getting more and more dangerous. We had two juveniles, as they are claimed now because of the age, shoot and kill a guy here in Gates on Buell Road not too long ago. How many shootings are in the city right now are all juvenile related, 18 or under, and we're bringing them to family court. It's getting ridiculous, and we need to get some responsibility back on these kids and allow our judges to be judges again and judge cases on their merit.
And I know the city just filed a lawsuit. How do you feel about that? Was your response?
The response of holding the car manufacturers responsible, to me, it's the same. That youth, the youths that stole this car last night, didn't steal that car because the car manufacturer told them to go do it. They have the thought process behind it to do it. They were the ones who went out and stole this car. I could probably walk to the gas station around the corner from here right now, and there's probably a running car while somebody's pumping the gas, right? Am I going to steal it? No, because I have ethics, morals, values. I don't want to get arrested. I have a career. That's on me. That's not on Toyota. That's not on Ford. That's not on Chevrolet or any of these other car companies. If you have an issue that it was broadcast out over TikTok and these kids learned how to steal a vehicle, again, those car companies came out and tried to help the best they could. They've tried to fix those problems, and I'm just not sure that it's their responsibility for all these thefts, and it's onto the parents, it's onto the kids that are stealing these cars, or the adults that are stealing, because we have some Kias and Hyundais getting stolen by adults as well. It's not just juveniles, and it's on those people who are committing the crime.